Dr. Q serves as the chairman of the Department of Neurological Surgery and leads the Brain Tumor Stem Cell Lab at Mayo Clinic, Florida, where he has been recognized with the distinction of the Dr. Quiñones-Hinojosa earned his BA in psychology from the University of California, Berkeley, go Bears, and his MD from Harvard Medical School, thank you so much, where he graduated cum laude. He completed his neurosurgery residency and postdoc in developmental and stem cell biology at the University of California, San Francisco. His career as a neurosurgeon started at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, where he was promptly named as a professor of neurosurgery and oncology and served as the director of the brain tumor program. He was also on a show called Hopkins. I know that's not in his bio, but it's out there somewhere, I think on Prime. Dr. Q, his practices focuses on the treatment of primary and metastatic brain tumors. He is a world-renowned leader in brain mapping techniques utilized to safely remove tumors close to eloquent brain regions and in minimally invasive endoscopic approaches required to operate on difficult to reach skull-based tumors. He has received many awards in recognition of his work. He has been named one of the 100 most influential Hispanics in 2008 as the recipient of the Gary Lichtenstein Humanitarian Award and Neurosurgeon of the Year in 2014, and one of Mexico's most brilliant minds in the world by Forbes magazine in 2015. Dr. Q is the recipient of the prestigious Charles B. Wilson Award granted by the Congress of Neurological Surgeons in 2021 to his meritorious career in neurosurgery, and also serves as the current international vice chair of the double ANS CNS tumor section. Dr. Q has also received multiple honorary degrees from several institutions around the globe. I know he's blushing as we're continuing here. I'm almost done, Dr. Q. He's published an inspirational autobiography, Becoming Dr. Q, which you all just got, and two of you will be getting a signed copy, that talks about his journey from a migrant farm worker to a neurosurgeon. Part of Dr. Q's life was included in the 2009 Peabody Award ABC TV series. Oh, here it is, Hopkins. I forgot, it's mentioned here. And the 2021 BAFTA award-winning show, The Surgeon's Cut, one of my favorite things on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you should absolutely check it out. Produced by Netflix. Disney and Plan B also are in productions to create a movie about his inspirational life story, which will also be featured in theaters. And on a personal note, I want to say that meeting Dr. Q for me early on in my medical career has been a very pivotal point in my life. He has been nothing but a wonderful mentor, generous with his time and kind with his words. A lot of times neurosurgeons get the rap that we know the neurosurgeon stereotype, so I'm not going to belabor that. But Dr. Q crushes that stereotype day in and day out. And I'm blessed to have him as a mentor of mine. And I'm so happy to share him with you all here today. Dr. Q, take it away.
Thank you, Han. I mean, I just put in the chat that I better not say anything after that amazing introduction. And I'm very humble, very honored. I'm just so excited to be here sharing the screen with Mike. Mike and I, we go way back. As you guys know, I trained in 1999 to 2005. He was a faculty member at UCSF, became my mentor, my friend, tremendous role model for me. And then together, as he told you a little bit, we began thinking many, many years ago of ways of giving back a little bit to the world because of the amazing things that the world has done for us. So I just thought about it, and of course, I want to thank you all, the organizers, the supporters, the judges, the participants, the volunteers, your family and friends that have, given you away for the last few days. And of course, thank you to our patients around the world who so many times have put their lives in our hands, and their families have worked diligently, to get patients from the middle of nowhere to these places where we go and do some of our surgery. And that has evolved, as you can see. I was looking at some of the quotes from my book, because that edition that you guys saw is a new edition that Mayo Clinic Press is going to release in July. So I don't think that we're going to be able to send the book yet, by the way. That's a new edition that is coming out in July. So when it comes out, we'll sign it and we'll send it to you. So I apologize. It's a new edition with a new introduction, a new couple of new chapters where I reflect upon how blessed I have been. I still remember back in 2010, sitting in Philadelphia and Mike talking to me, and in an amazing way, very kind, very gentle, allowing me to realize that we could do so much more that we could go around the world and maybe touch lives, empower, some of our colleagues to even do more, to synergize, And I always thought about this. I'm not a genius by no means. I just work really, really hard. And I wanted our generation, our children, and our future generations to realize that they can also fulfill the same dreams. And if you have passion for everything you do, and you look at the positive sides of everything that you do, because the world is so filled with darkness. Every single thing that you see is dark, dark, dark. This cannot happen. We cannot do this. But you guys have proven this weekend that you can do so much, and you have also proven that doesn't matter how menial may be the job that you are doing today. If you have dreams, you will turn those dreams into something extraordinarily beautiful. I put over the last few days a few quotes from people that have inspired me, and I will also pay a homage to Mike, because I had seven thoughts that I had towards the end. And this is actually a direct lesson that I learned from some of his books that he's been doing lately. But some of the quotes that I put in social media: the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into what we consider to be the impossible. That was from Arthur Clarke. I posted also, what is now proved was once only imagined. And I remember when this group began to imagine the hackathon, and as Michael mentioned, we had no idea what a hackathon was. Mike and I were thinking we're gonna get into something illegal, but I just imagine you guys are hacking each other's minds. You guys are finding ways to change the world. And then one last quote that I put this weekend is, anything is possible if you got enough nerve. That's from J.K. Rowling, So I really do believe that what you guys are doing is just proving to us that we can do so much more, that our imagination, as Albert Einstein said once, is much more important than knowledge. Knowledge can be considered to be limited, but our imaginations can do so much. They can encircle the world. They can encircle the galaxy. And I think that is what is so beautiful about what you guys are doing. We did take a hiatus over the last couple of years, but you guys know that last year we went back to Mexico. We did together 10 surgeries with partnering with hospitals, partnering with surgeons, partnering with families, and I think it's a testament of the tremendous energy and courage that many of you have to venture in places where very few go. I was actually, paying attention to Francesca. Francesca said that we have done so much with so little. And it is true. We have little, but you know what you have so much of? You have almost 100 billion neurons in your brain. And right now, they're forming anywhere between 200 and 800 trillion synapses as you're listening to this, and as you're imagining things about your own projects. There are more synapses, in your brain going on right now than there are, stars in the galaxy. Just think about this. It's such an amazing thing. But yes, we may have little in terms of money. We may have little in terms of resources, but what you have, no money, no resources can ever buy it. And I remember, for the past 12 years, what we have been doing in Mission Brain, how we started back in 2011 in Mexico, in Guadalajara, in Monterrey, in the small little hospitals. Since then, we have done over 110 very, very complex surgeries. But what I think is more important is that we have touched thousands of trainees. That's not counting this event, just the surgeries alone. We have touched thousands of trainees and medical students and thousands of families. And I think that's what I call the butterfly effect, that where you get to touch people, and those are really effects that have deep meaning and deep implications. I'm looking at what you guys are doing right now, the Mission Brain podcast, the newsletter, the innovation, this hackathon, the way in which I see every single day around the globe, in Africa and Asia, and Latin America and Europe, how you guys are helping each other. They're forming connections, those synapses that are changing the way in which we view global disease, in which we view global alternatives to not give up. When people tell us, no, you cannot fix that disease, you cannot find a cure for brain cancer, you cannot find a cure for arteriovenous malformations, or a patient that has a ruptured aneurysm is going to die, we don't give up. We are not surrendering to the can't happen. But on the other hand, we have proven over and over, and I'm looking at the events that are going on, by region, both academic and research, over 100 to 200 events going on between Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the United States yearly, over the last year or so. I look at the number of attendees, thousands, over 100,000 attendees for what I am counting, looking at the data that we're beginning to track. This is the way in which every single one of you is changing the world. And the impact is really inspirational. So we do have challenges, but at the same time, we have opportunities. We are building platforms to allow us to communicate better with you, to allow you to communicate better with each other, so that way together you can change the world. So I thought about it, and I was inspired by Mike, and I wanted to end up in these 7 principles. I thought about this whole idea. So he's made an amazing series of books about 7 principles, and I thought about these principles of leadership within the operating room and what we do. And also myself as a surgeon, as a scientist, as I try to learn from the innovation that I see around me. When I see what UpSurgeon is doing with Federico and Paolo, I am inspired. And just last week, we were trying to find ways in which we can further partner between myself and UpSurgeon, between UpSurgeon and the Mayo Clinic, to do even more to change the world. So I go back to 7 principles. I thought about this from the moment that we wheel the patient into the operating room. And I encourage you, I sometimes take the time to just help the nurses to wheel a patient into the operating room. Principle number 1, I say, see the person within the patient. Sometimes we lose sight that inside of every patient, there is a son, there is a daughter, there's a husband, there's a wife. So learn how to see the person within the patient. Principle number 2, healing is the goal, even when curing is in question. So yes, sometimes we think that we need to cure every single disease. And I began to realize over the last few years that healing is even a greater goal. And to heal, you need to heal the soul. You need to heal the body, and I think that those kind of principles allow you to become a better surgeon, a better leader. Principle number 3, it is about the experience, not the event. Just what happened this weekend. The event, yes, it was amazing, but it's the experience of putting all of you together. Same thing in the operating room when you're taking care of a patient in surgery. Principle number 4, it is a team sport. Medicine, surgery, everything that you saw today is a team sport. Play it that way. Help each other, collaborate with each other, keep each other in mind, and find those connections, as Han was saying, and Aparna and everybody in the team, stay connected to each other. Principle number 5, teams need captains, not autocrats. And I would say that what I saw today and what I continue to see through all of you, that all of you guys are captains and you are empowering your teams to change the world. Principle number 6, treat the environment, not just the tumor. In my case, sometimes I get so lost in the fact that I'm dealing with a patient with a glioblastoma brain cancer that I tend to forget that the environment, the patient, the nurse, the technician, the anesthesiologist, the neurologist, everybody else is important. So that way we go back to principle number 2, which is healing, which always the goal. And my last principle, dance with the brain. You have to learn how to be flexible. You have to learn how, when things are coming at you at a fast speed and seems like you can't get it done and you're frustrated, you need to learn how to dance. I just reminded of the movie The Matrix, when the bullets are coming and just, Keanu Reeves is just seems like he's almost dancing with the bullets coming his way. So I did this in honor of Mike because I have learned so much from him. I was just in his house a couple of months ago and I said, I'm going to put 7 principles, so Mike, this is an honor of you for all the years and all the mentorship that you have given me. I see you going thumbs up. So those principles, so I leave you with those thoughts. What is next? you are going to see there's a documentary being filmed right now by a group, Danny Jaro and Ernesto Quintero, who are working with out of LA. They filmed us. They are doing amazing things. You're going to get to see a trailer pretty soon. And we're hoping that in the future, we'll come to your town, we'll come to your chapters, and we'll continue to film new events, new documentaries in regions, Latin America, Asia, Europe, Africa. And we'll continue. And of course, Mike and I are dedicated to you. We're committed to you. We are very grateful for what you do. I leave you with one last thought. Remember, being great at something means being bad at it for a while. Don't be afraid to be bad at it for a while. Be afraid of not learning. Be afraid of not pushing the limits. So thank you, Han. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everybody. I am so blessed by all of you and all of you here tonight.